Have you ever gone to a networking event and maybe you didn't feel 100% confident? Maybe you weren't sure how to make those incredible connections. Well, let me tell you, this next speaker, she runs multiple BNI events. If you don't know BNI, Business Network International, with a guy that started by a guy named Ivan Meisner, just an amazing group all over the world. Very successful in the mortgage business. But I'll tell you what, she's got a heart of gold and a heart of service. And if you can get a chance to work with her, because she takes like 20 students, that's it, from something like this. And she works with them over an 8-week period to make sure they understand how to become the ultimate connector, how to network like a rock star, how to own the room. And it's less than $1,000 for the whole 8 weeks and a bunch of other goodies she has for you. But I will tell you this, that if you know for a fact that you'd like to become a great connector, I want you to put the number 1 down in the box. Put the number 1 in your comment box. You might think you're the ultimate connector, but I mean really become an absolute rock star when it comes to networking. If that's something that resonates, you just put a number 1 down there so we can see some of those ones pop up. But I want to bring to the channel, to the stream. Let me see if I can add Jackie Frank to the line. Jackie, how are you?
Oh, I'm great, Bill. So good to see you.
Yeah, so good to see you. Thanks for jumping. I know it's kind of last minute, but
yep,
it was great to be able to get you on the same event with our good friend from iHeartMedia. You know, Daryl did a great job, and I'm sure you will too. But if it's okay with you, would you mind just taking a few minutes and just share a bit of your story, and also talk to us about what it looks like, what it takes to really become a great networker? Not a not worker, but a networker.
A networker. And it is work, right? That, you know, Ivan Meisner, a good friend of yours and mine now for over 20 years, who founded BNI 35 years ago, he always says, you know, the dirty word in networker is work. There is actually work involved in this. So, you know, as you mentioned, I've been in the mortgage business now 25 years. Back then, you didn't actually have to be graduated from high school when you started. How do you grow a business? How do you grow a pipeline? How do you get clients? How do you get trusted professionals to trust you, to introduce you to their most valuable thing, which is their clients? So someone invited me to my first networking event, and, you know, I'm pretty social and comfortable in a small environment, but here I was thrown into a big room of people, a little bit on the younger side, a little green in my business, and certainly didn't even know what networking meant. And a lot of people I find still don't know what networking means. And so I walked into this room full of people, and everybody in the room just talked about their business, asked about your business, and ultimately it was to help each other, you know, grow our businesses through these warm referrals, which sounded easy, or certainly sounded simple, but it's not easy because you actually have to participate at a high level for this to work. I speak to hundreds of people a month who are actively networking, but they're actually not connecting, and they're not building relationships over time that turn into really valuable connections to grow your business. I mean, I met Bill Walsh through BNI because a member who's a good friend of mine said, "You must meet this man. Bill Walsh is unbelievable. You will connect with him." And then I was off to speaker camp and all these various stages that I've been able to stand on. And that was from one initial connection with someone who is still someone in my life 10 years later, who set up an appointment for me to come to Bill's event, sit down. I got to have lunch with Bill that day. I don't know if you remember, Bill. We were at, I think we were at Grand Central Station in one of those steakhouses. So it's not just meeting people, it's meeting people and then making a relationship. And how do you take a relationship and turn it into money? And, you know, we don't want to bury the lead. Ultimately, we're looking to meet people in our businesses to grow our Rolodex, that's what we used to call it, so that we can monetize it. How can I help someone else monetize their business? And ultimately, it comes back to me, because if I help them, people naturally want to help you. So I've been networking now as an active participating sport for 25 years. And about 15 years ago, I was asked to work for BNI, which is one of my biggest loves in this world, is to be able to help people learn this skill, because it is a skill. It doesn't come naturally to everyone. You could be a gabber and you could be, you know, a matchmaker kind of person, but to actually learn the skills of how to present yourself in such a way without selling, right, but connecting and having people want to help you. So I'm very grateful to be able to be a coach who does this. I do it for people, you know, within the organization. I do it privately, but I am doing a 20-person class, which is going to be a lot of fun each week for 8 weeks. And part of why I want to do it in a group environment is because you're going to practice it together and actually build from the relationships in that. So yeah, I mean, my business is all about networking. Everything I do.
What would you say are the top 3 mistakes, or whatever number of mistakes, that most people make when it comes to networking?
I think one of the top ones is not following up. You know, it's like if you go to the gym once, right? If you go to the gym once, you're not getting in shape. If you go to the gym twice, you know, you'll get in a little shape. But if you go all the time, so you must follow up. If you meet someone and just give out your business cards and take a bunch of business cards, and you know, now it's not even cards anymore, right? We're sharing our information digitally. But if you do nothing with that information, it didn't mean anything. You could just pile them up. It doesn't matter. So following up. Also, I do think people tend to sell, right? When you meet someone and you connect with someone and you're thinking, what can they do for me, right? Let me see if I could sell them my product. And it's quite the opposite. It's how can I help you? I mean, and that's right out of Ivan's book, right? You start the conversation with, tell me about you. I mean, you know, tell me about your business. Tell me who I can introduce you to. I mean, it's how Bill, you know, introduces people all the time. The minute we met, it was who can I connect you with and what different things can I do to help you? And I think the third thing is thinking that it doesn't take effort, thinking that it's just this natural thing that's going to happen, that you're going to meet somebody once and they're just going to give you business. And then that just going to a networking event is networking. Just show up, but it's actually not. You have to actually participate.
And once they get that part down, right? What would you say are a few keys they can do to follow up? You know, I mean, how long do you wait? Do you wait a day? Do you wait 4 days? You know, what's like those, I guess, the things that, it's just that people just don't know this stuff, so they don't know what to do, so they make the mistake. And do you phone them? Do you text them? Do you email them? How do you even follow? What's the best way to follow up?
Well, that's interesting too, right? So 25 years ago, we didn't have all these options. There was no texting. You know, you actually had to pick up a phone. So, you know, if we talk about pre-COVID, right, when we were meeting everybody in person, I would say, yeah, you drop someone a note afterwards. I have someone I work with. I mean, she's unbelievable. She sends a handwritten note after she meets with someone. She'll send a handwritten note, even if you did something nice for her, and she just sends you a note and say, hey, I just want to let you know, like, she really reaches out. And when you open the mail, I mean, boy, who gets mail anymore? It's so impactful. So you could reach out with a note. Of course, the easiest, goes without saying, is sending someone a follow-up email. I think if you meet someone, that the same day to send an email just saying, hey, it was great to meet you. Would love to reconnect, right? You know, it's kind of like dating, right? You sit back and you say, well, let them reach out first, or I don't want to look too, you know, aggressive about it or too needy. But, you know, the truth is people like to be acknowledged and people like to be recognized. And so if you think about how you would like it, right? If you meet someone, you have a cup of coffee with them, or you exchange, you know, 20 minutes at an event, and they take the time to find your business card, find your email, and email you and say, hey, Bill, it was so great to meet you today. It was so interesting to hear that you love, you know, the football Giants as much as I do. With, you know, looking forward to our next time we can chat. And that's it. Don't sell them anything, right? Because nobody wants to be sold. You don't want to be sold, right? So certainly a follow-up email at the very least. And then, you know, you shouldn't, if you're not reaching out to people to get them to buy something from you, then there's not too many times that you could reach out, especially if you're reaching out to help them. If you're reaching out to say, hey, I'm going to an event next week. I thought maybe you'd like it. Here's the information. Maybe you'll meet me there. It's all how you approach. I don't think it's too often if it's done the right way. Texting, I think, is a little more personal these days, so I would be mindful of, I think the first touch would be an email and the second touch could be a text if the person is a texter. But if you reach out and ask them something that helps them, hey, I saw this article. I thought you'd really appreciate it. Hey, I just tried this product. You know, I thought maybe it would help your business. As long as you're not selling, I don't think there's too quick or too often.
Let me give you a little more time on this one. And I'm just going to let you go on your own for about at least 10, 12 minutes. But I know when someone works with you over these 8 weeks, you have 8 very specific programming sessions. I'd like you to just pick 2 or 3 of those and maybe do a little deeper dive on those, maybe about 3 minutes each or 4 minutes each on these, and then I'll be back. But I want you to kind of do a deep dive on what would someone, you know, and guys, just so you know, I don't know, there's not many networkers that can play at the level that Jackie plays at. So if you get a chance to work with her, I know she charges more than $5,000 a quarter for some private coaching, but I asked her, would you do something for like 20 of our top people or 20 individuals where you can work with them over 8 weeks to really help them become better networkers? Because I'm sorry, but a lot of people, they think they're great networkers, but if people aren't calling you back, it means that your network might not have been that effective, right? So if you could just take maybe 10 or 12 minutes and just kind of go on a roll here, I would love for you to share just maybe a little deeper dive on a few of the areas that when they work with you, you're going to work with them on. And then, guys, once again, if any of this stuff resonates with what I'm talking about today, you got to apply to be a part of the program. You just text the word connector. It's pretty cool. You text the word connector to 26786. You'll get a quick application. If she lets you in the program, you're in. So text the word connector to 26786. But Jack, let me turn this over to you for about 10 or 12 minutes. You can kind of go on a run here on your own and just really go a little deeper dive in that. Maybe pick 3 of the zones you'll talk about and a little deeper dive in each one of those sections, because my belief is everyone needs your program. You know, I've watched you network with the best, and I've watched you build amazing rooms and groups. And you didn't do it once; you've done it multiple times in one of the toughest cities in the world to network. Right? It's not easy to be a top networker in New York City because, let's face it, you got to know your stuff. I love New York because it's all matter of fact. Right? There's no left to right BS. Just tell me exactly what it is, and I love that. But some people are, they don't have quite that approach to it. But I'd love for you to take some time and just kind of share, 3 of those big zones you would talk about if someone decided to team up with you today.
Terrific. Thank you, Bill. And yeah, I like the idea of actually doing group coaching because we can actually act it out together in that after 8 weeks of being on a call with 20 other professionals, if at the end of those 8 weeks you have not built connections with those 20 people, then I've done something wrong and we have not, solved the big question is, how do you connect with people, especially now when we're connecting by video and online? So the first thing I would focus on is people's message. One of the things I do really well with people is pull out from them who they want to meet, who their perfect client is, who the demographic is. So let's take, for example, I'm working with a financial professional. A lot of people in finance, in insurance, in mortgage, and in real estate. Obviously, we're in industries where there's no salary. Most of us probably on this call, we're all entrepreneurs. We are here to learn how to get new clients, keep our clients, and keep revenue streams going. And if I said to you, who do you want to meet? Who's your perfect client? The majority of people will be silent for a second and actually have to think for a while. Yeah, who is my perfect client? What is the demographic of the person that I want to meet? Who is the person who I can help the most with the service I provide? Right? So I'm going to talk about my friend Sean, who's on this call right now. So Sean Lashley, he's with a company called 10,000 Cards, right? And he came to my networking meeting the other day, and boy, did he shine, because he has this great product, and I'm going to tell Bill about it later because it's awesome for everybody who's building a business. And it's a digital business card. But I'm like, okay, Sean, who do you want to meet? So, okay, he could say, I want to meet just entrepreneurs. Well, sure, I can fill a room with entrepreneurs, but let's narrow that down. What kind of entrepreneurs? What kind of business or businesses are these entrepreneurs in? Okay, so Sean said to me, I want to meet people like you, Jackie, who network, who have a lot of people that you want to contact at one time. I said, great. And what is it that you're going to do for them, right? So each time I work with someone about who their target market is, I'm pulling out of them, and I would be pulling out of you, who do you want to meet? And the next part is, if I put that person right in front of you, what would you say to them? What is it? What service do you provide? What benefit do you provide? How are you going to help them with the problem that they have? Everybody has some problem. And one of the best things about New York is if you say to a New Yorker, how are you? They are going to tell you. And it is going to be a complaint of some kind. It is going to be, I'm in financial pain or emotional pain or physical pain or real estate pain or some kind of pain, right? And we're all here as entrepreneurs and business owners to solve people's problems. right? That's what Bill Walsh and Powerteam does. They're solving the problem of you growing your business and you being an entrepreneur and you getting all the referrals into your marketing funnel and how you can really be successful at what you do, right? So you have to know what your why is, what you solve for your client, who your client is, so that when I run into that person that you've told me you want to meet, I know exactly what to tell them. So let's use, for example, I built my whole mortgage business on networking. So I want you to introduce me to people who want to buy a house. Okay. So you run into your friends and they say, I want to buy a house. And now you need to know, so Jackie, what should I tell them? I've now met your perfect client. So I need to be able to tell you, I want them to know that I've been in the business 20 years. I get the best interest rates. I will take them through this problem of getting a mortgage and they will be in their home in 30 days with the lowest rate possible. I want to give you bullet points of specific things that you can say about me so that when you meet my perfect client, they will say, of course, I want her name and number. Please connect me. So I help you figure out your who, what, why, when, and where, which is who do you want to meet? What is it that you're going to do for them? Where do they want to go with the service that you provide them? And then how do we get you to the next perfect client? So if you can describe your perfect client, I can introduce you to another perfect client. But if when I say to you, who do you want to meet, you don't know, or if I say to you, who's your best client, or who's the last client you helped, or tell me a success story of the last client that walked through your door. Describe to me the whale of a client. If you could draw and illustrate the exact client that would change your life, who is that person? Literally down to who is it? What does that person do for a living? What industry are they in? What position at that company are they in? Let's say you're in commercial real estate, and I'm just picking things out of random categories. Commercial real estate brokers want people whose companies are moving, right? Really big, wide net, but narrow it down. What kind of company, right? Who's the person at that company that's the perfect person for you to speak to? Don't just say decision maker. Tell me the name and title of the decision maker. Don't, if you're networking and you're looking for people to help you refer you, don't let us go on a treasure hunt to figure out who you want to meet. Tell us. Be really, really specific, right? So one of the things that we do during the course, a whole session is on fine-tuning your message, pinpointing your target market, your demographic, and knowing it cold. The term elevator pitch comes from riding in an elevator. The period of time that it would take you if you got in the elevator on the 10th floor with a stranger or your neighbor or someone and you're making conversation from the 10th floor down to the lobby, you had that period of time to talk about yourself and your business. You wouldn't have a lot of time for fat on the bone. Like, oh, well, we do that. It's very, oh, I'm Jackie, I'm in the mortgage business, or I'm a networking coach, and this is what I do. I help my clients. You need to be able to do that elevator pitch without it sounding like it's a pitch. So there's a very specific skill in that, and we work on that. I help literally write the verbiage, but then we practice saying it in a natural, authentic way. Because just like you as a receiver of someone else's message, if it doesn't sound authentic, it's not going to work, right? So you need to feel it so that when it comes out, it's as natural and honest and authentic as it can be. So a lot of time spent on how you separate yourself from the competition. Why you? I mean, listen, there's a trillion mortgage brokers in the country. Why me? And it isn't even just cheapest. No one likes to sell rate. No one likes to sell fee. How many of you want to go out and say, come to me, I'm the cheapest? Never been to a networking group or a networking event or heard people speak and say, my number one reason for you to hire me is because I'm the cheapest. We don't want to sell price. You want to sell value. You want to sell authenticity. You want to sell integrity. And you want your message to say that about you, right? I knew the first time I spoke to Sean Lashley of 10,000 Cards that this guy was the real deal and that if I referred him to somebody else, he'd make me look good. And that's what you want people to think about when they talk about you. You want people to say, she or he is the real deal. They will get the job done. They will show up for you because this is what they do. And so you have to be able to tell me and the other people what that is. So, first deep dive would be into your message. Now, it segued into the elevator pitch, but just remember, right now we've gone from in person to networking like this, which is, it's got some pros and it's got some cons, and it won't be forever. Obviously, we're in many states we're already back to in person, but this is going to be part of our world. Part of the follow up is not going to be each time you connect with somebody, it's going to be over coffee or in person. Your second, third, fourth, even 10th connection is going to be like this. And it's a whole new world. I didn't have a lot of time to plan and get my backdrop and get my whole thing, but it really is important how you present on camera, right? It should be somewhat of a pleasing background. You need to, again, you want people to see you authentically and feel comfortable with you, whether it's in person or on camera. And though it feels when you're on camera that you're performing, you want to try not to perform. One of the best things that came out of me being in this networking world and standing on the stage is someone grabbed me and really forced me into taking a comedy course. And I've been blessed enough to be able to do comedy on stage. And I have to tell you that the best part about it is that you learn to be authentic and realize that you can't fool an audience. When you get up and do stand-up comedy, it is raw. It is about your family or yourself, or it's real-life stories that you put a funny twist on, hopefully. But you can't fake that. And so people see that when you're not authentic. So you can't practice being authentic, right? It's a be. But when we're in a class and we're working with each other and we get comfortable over an 8-week period, we're going to be able to let our hair down a little bit and be comfortable in, just tell me who you are, right? Tell me who you are through your business. Why is your business important to you? Getting to your real comfort level so that when you are telling someone how you're going to help them, they get it. They really get your passion. And like, I know when I talk about networking and I talk about this, that it comes through that I'm passionate about it. There's no question about it. I don't have to put it on. It doesn't matter how I feel that day. When I get on this topic, as my dad would say, I'm jazzed. So that's the part people want to see about you. People love good energy. People want to be around people who feel good about what they do and who make them feel good, right? This whole concept of, how can I get people to give me business? It's totally the opposite. It's how can I give people business? How can I help someone? Because ultimately, that's what makes this whole networking thing work. It's not getting together in a group of people and, like I said, passing business cards and saying, who's going to give me something? You can spot those people in a minute when you walk into a room and they're doing more of the talking, they're selling, they're pushing their business card on you. That's the person you're going to quickly try to walk away from, so you don't want to be that person. So one of the things, and again, it's not so easy to become overnight this person who's comfortable talking about themselves on the spot like that, but we will practice that over and over. And it's like any other learned skill. I was not able to just talk for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, or even 2 hours. I mean, tomorrow I'm doing a 2-hour networking training for, I think, 40 people on Zoom, and it used to be in person. And so I've had to rework my whole style and build a fun PowerPoint that has pictures and real content, and at the same time be authentic simultaneously, because 2 hours of staring at a screen in a classroom style is not that engaging. So we all have to learn to adapt to making connections and then keeping them on video. And I do think it's really important. The difference between a phone call and a video call does really make a difference. And it's what I'm finding is very interesting is that before COVID, most phone calls were phone calls. And now even the same phone calls have become, why don't we just do it by video? And I think it's a great advantage we have now of being able to connect with people who we would never meet. Let's say you're in New York and you're doing business with someone in LA. You might not ever meet your client, but now you can very easily say, let's do it by video, and people say yes to that. And so I think that's a really a good thing to add into our toolbox, even when we go back to in-person networking. And I don't know, again, what that's going to look like. Are we going to be shaking hands and sitting around a table having breakfast together? I don't know. But certainly smaller meetings and one-on-one connections will continue. So I think we all really need to hone our skills on this virtual meetings. And the third thing I want to focus on is how you become influential and how influence really is the key to all this. So one thing we can change is that it takes time to build a relationship, right? You can't meet someone on Monday and now you have a deep rooted relationship on Tuesday. And it won't even happen by the following Monday. It takes time to build a relationship. And it takes time, not where time can just go by. I meet you in January and then I touch base with you 4 months later and now we have a relationship that's 4 months. It's nothing. So in order to become influential, you have to become memorable and you have to become a real solid connection for someone where you're available to them and you're on their minds, right? So social media helps us in that one place. I mean, I could go months without speaking to Bill Walsh, but I can't forget Bill Walsh because I got social media and I feel like I know what he's doing. I know where he is. I know how his kids are. I know the newest thing Powerteam is doing. And you always feel connected. So I do think remaining in people's mindset, social media is a great tool. But to be influential, you have to be that person who is the go-to. And what I find I've developed a real gift for is people will call me for anything. It doesn't even matter what it is, whether it's, do you have a dog walker? Do you have an estate attorney? Do you, Jackie, I know you know everybody. Who do you have? Who do you know? Um, I got a text this morning at 8 a.m. Hey, I'm having a problem with my car. Do you have a lemon law attorney? I said, I will have one for you in 10 minutes. And in 10 minutes, I sent a note to my network and I said, who has a good lemon law attorney? Within 4 minutes from there, I had a phone call with someone who was ready to take the phone call of my client. None of that puts money in my pocket. None of that. Certainly not directly. But here's what I did. Obviously, I helped my client who needed a lemon law attorney. But this lemon law attorney now knows me, and now I'm on his radar because I got him a client. Now, I didn't just randomly introduce them. I first made sure that the person who introduced me to this person, knew he was good at what he does, and was worthy of being introduced to my client. All that happened from 8 a.m. to 8:15 today. The initial contact from the person who needed the service, the connection with my friend who knew them, the attorney, and then they all spoke. And all four of those people in that story think I'm influential because I am, because I was able to move that, right? And everybody got what they needed in that transaction. Interaction. It wasn't even a transaction, just interaction. So how do you become influential? How do you become that person that everybody calls you first? And so what the great thing is, everybody calls me first for everything, right? And one day it will be for what I sell. Maybe it will be because they want to take a course. Maybe it will be because they want a mortgage. Maybe it will just be because, they need a dog walker and I'm not going to walk their dog, but I'll get them one. So what you want to become is the person people call for everything. And so following up and being available and making it happen is the only way you build that reputation. So if this morning when I got to rewind the story, I got a text, hey, do you have a lemon law attorney? And I said, I'll get back to you or I'll let you know. And then I never complete the circle. Not only do I not get influence, I lose it. I lose credibility and I lose that ongoing reputation of being the go-to. Just call Jackie. She'll get it done for you. And that, I think, is the key to all of this. It doesn't happen overnight. It is a learned skill. It is work. So I think it was Ivan Meisner, and I want to give the quote where it came from. This whole thing is very simple. Get up every day, pick up the phone, call people back, do the right thing, know your message, speak clearly, all these things that we say you need to do. Simple, but it's not easy. It's not easy to do all these things every day. Now, what they say about everything is, to make something a habit, you have to do it and Bill told me this directly, to be able to sell and stand on a stage and do this, you have to do it, I think it's 100 times. Well, it's the same thing with this. It's the same thing with networking. It's the same thing with everything. If you do it once and you do it twice, you're just not going to be good at it. If you look at, I don't know if, a lot of people have been watching The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan 10 series thing. He didn't accidentally become the best. It takes work. So whatever it is you choose to do, you got to do it, and you got to do it all the time. And then eventually it becomes second nature, right? It actually becomes part of you where you don't have to think about it. Oh, that's right. If I do this right now, I'll become influential. I don't think that anymore. It's just who I am. And it's a really big piece of being a great networker. You can go to a networking event. That doesn't make you a networker. It's like you could go to the gym, but it doesn't make you an athlete, right? It's what you do at the gym that makes you an athlete. So it's what you do at a networking event, or it's what you do with the relationships you make that makes you a connector. So hopefully that makes sense. So again, the 8 weeks will be fun. There'll be a bunch of different people from different industries, from different cities, from different states, and I would love to have you.
And you're thinking to start of August? Is that the plan?
Yes, we're going to start in August.
Program. Mm-hmm. So everybody, if you're listening today, and it's one last question before we finish, but just text the word connector to 26786. It's right there on your screen, and you'll get a call with Jackie, see if it's a good fit. And if it is, take advantage of it. Don't wait. Because I just want to ask you this last question. How much do you think it costs people if they're not networking or ever learn how to network effectively? How much money do you think they leave on a table? How much do you think an executive leaves on the table each year if they never actually take the time to learn how to become a really effective connector and / networker?
I mean, if I just equate it to my numbers, it's $100,000 easily. I mean, it depends on what you do for a living. But to me, I don't know how else. Put it this way: there's a lot of different things. You guys teach so many things, but this is an important, integral piece of it.
It is.
And you network when you go to the dry cleaner, Bill. It's like, it's how you talk to people, and it's how you connect. I mean, you're the master, right? And so
if you're a good connector with the dry cleaner, they'll have your banners up there selling your stuff by the time the conversation is over. If not, there'll be 3 other dry cleaners that do.
Exactly.
Well, Jackie, listen, keep up the great work. Look forward to seeing you in New York, maybe not for a little while, but when all the craziness clears. Love New York City. Love the work that you do. And please, everyone, if you're serious about becoming better at connecting, becoming an ultimate connector, take advantage of this class right away. We'll restream this class and send it back out. But if you could get one of those 20 slots, I would. And if not, maybe it's not a great fit. I would still get the session with Jackie, see if she can work with you some way, because there's no doubt that she is a master at what she does, and she lives it every day. Jackie Franks, I'll let you go. You're awesome as always. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You too, Bill. Great to see you.